So today we're putting together the giveaway PC. We got a long ways to go to get to 1,000 subscribers, but I feel like you guys can get us there. This is a great little machine. We're going to show you how to put it together and what it can play. And by the end of this, maybe somebody will be getting this PC once we hit 1,000 subscribers. Okay, so you took my advice and you went out and you got yourself one of these cheap HPs. Now, where do you go from here? Today I'm going to show you the 3 parts that you need to make these into a gaming PC. Graphics card. Fun fact about the graphics card, you want to make sure it actually fits. Took me like 3 of these to figure out which one was going to fit. You want to upgrade your RAM just so you have better RAM performance. It really depends on which one you get. This one only has a single 8 gig stick in it, and we definitely want to run a dual channel. So I had some extra Corsair RAM sitting around for 16 gigs in dual channel. And then you need the 500 watt power supply. These run like 50 bucks online. So this computer here has a base CPU of the 4600G, the Ryzen 4600G, 8 gigs in single channel, and a 500 gig NVMe. So we'll stick with that because SSD prices are insane. Now you could just get another 8 gig stick of RAM, like the one that I'm using here, and stick it in there and then be in dual channel with 16 gigs. That could be the cheaper option for you. This one, I just happen to have this RAM sitting around, so we're gonna go with that. But you could just take your microphone holder and you could slot it in there and have 16 gigs in dual channel. So go about it whichever way you want. But let's get this thing taken apart. We'll go from there. All right, so taking the side panel off, seeing the inside of this thing. Pretty basic. We've got our single 8 gig stick in here. We've got just a basic cooler, our NVMe, and our little power supply, which I believe is like 180 watts. But there's only motherboard power, and that's it. These are all proprietary connectors, so there's not really like a whole lot that you can do with these. But the HP lineup of like the Omens and stuff like that that do come with graphics cards have this upgraded PSU. So let's get that guy put in because that's kind of the step numero uno. The kind of nice thing about these is there's these little cable holders on the side, so it kind of does keep it nice and clean. And 4 little screws on the back here to hold the power supply in, and then just one little button, and you press it down here and it slides right out. Little guy, big guy, 500 watts, 180. That's where we get the power from. All right. This just goes right back in the same spot, clicks in, and the little button down here clicks it in place. And then you can get your screws and mount that power supply back in. Pretty self-explanatory. The short one goes to the short spot. The long one goes to the long spot. And you can kind of put these back in these little cable holders to keep it nice and clean. Our other motherboard power goes right there. And this is kind of the thing that makes these a little bit of a pain. Like instead of a regular motherboard that uses an 8-pin for power, this has a split 4-pin, and then it uses this little proprietary connector down here. Let's get this RAM out. We'll get our 16 gigs of Corsair Vengeance, which at this day and age costs more than the whole computer did. Click, click. But realistically, you could just add a second 8 gig stick so you can be running 16 gigs in dual channel. That's the more cost-effective route of this. And here we have a 2060 Super going in there, a little MSI guy. You pop this little door open. Generally there would be little plates you have to break off here, but I've already built so many of these that I just took them off already. This one barely fits. But you get this slot lined up. Sometimes a little finagling. And our GPU is seated. This just takes a single 8-pin. A lot of times, because of how wide these cards are and getting the side door back on, I like to use these little 180-degree adapters. So I'll just put this guy onto here, and then this 180-degree adapter plugs into here. That way your cable isn't being pressed out by the door, because I think width-wise, if you look, it would, this would be, having the cable and like the wires coming out would push the side panel out. Then you can take your little extra cable and you can run it into one of those little side panel holders or anything to kind of get it out of the way. These do have an 8 and a 6, so if you wanted to go with something like a 5700 XT, you could go that route also. It would probably get us a little bit more power than this 2060 Super, but that is basically it. We have our GPU, our RAM. I already have an NVMe in here. We've got our upgraded power supply. So we are ready to make this into a gaming PC. We'll get a, if it didn't already come with Windows installed, we'll get Windows installed. We'll get drivers going. You can just button this guy right up. And look at that. All right, so we've got our drivers installed. We've got a couple of games installed on this little HP. Let's see what it can do. So we're running 1080p, transformer mode DLSS. Let's see, it looks like it's scaling hardcore. All right, let's just run in full on 1080p mode, no resolution scaling. Static for the ray tracing, a mix of medium and low and high settings, it looks like. And we're running about 80 FPS. 70 to 80-ish. I'm gonna call that not horrible. It is playing Arc Raiders. We're dipping into the 60s. Now I will say that when I was testing, trying to do some screen recording on this, of playing Arc Raiders while doing screen capture, my FPS was dropping down into like the 50s. Could you do some streaming from this? It's hard to say. It would be kind of rough. Maybe if we upped the RAM, it would do a little bit better. But now inside, like when we're not out in the hurricane effect, we are getting up into the 80s and 90s. So there is definitely an opportunity to get better FPS. We come back outside and it's back to in the 70s. Nothing horrible. Definitely not unplayable. And we made it back. Just like that. Plays Arc Raiders, does well. Let's try another game. Alright, so we are in Fortnite. First jump, so it's always a little bit more chaotic, but we're running about 93, down to 60s. 90 FPS on first run. It's not horrible. Let's go see if we can third party some people. So as the game's progressing on, we're getting up into the 100, just over 100 FPS. The game looks great. I'm sure we could probably optimize settings a little bit, go like far distance, textures, low whatevers, blah blah blahs, and we could get this looking even better than it does. But as of right now, 100 FPS isn't horrible. Victory Royale, look at that. Haven't played this game in probably like a fucking year. That was pretty great. Alright, well, We know it plays Fortnite. We know it plays it well. We can get a victory royale. What more could you ask for? All right, so for the last game, we're going to do some Marvel Rivals as soon as shaders are done loading. Shaders on a 2060 Super do take kind of a while, but once you've ran it and it builds all the shaders, you're good to go. This is another game that I don't really ever play, so I don't know what I'm doing. But it looks like we need to go that way. I don't know what I'm doing, but we are getting about 60 FPS. I'm sure we could tweak settings a little bit. Yeah, victory. I feel like maybe I did all right. I'm not 100% sure, but 13% accuracy means I'm doing great. But it played. It played Marvel Rivals just fine. That's all we can ask for. Arc Raiders, Marvel Rivals, Fortnite, it can handle them. We're doing great. Clearly not a bad choice for a beginner gamer PC, or if you wanted to have like a sleeper build, a living room build, something along those lines, not a bad choice. You can pick up one of these HPs, get you a graphics card, get you the power supply, upgrade the RAM if need be, upgrade the SSD if need be. But look at it go. Did Arc Raiders, Marvel Rivals, and Fortnite just fine. We even got a victory royale. But thanks for watching. If you want to build one of these, let me know your thoughts on it. If you do build one of these, let me know what specs you went with.